I thought I'd come on for a few before I settle in and watch some TV and get my relaxing, well, even though I can't fucking relax for the life of me, try to relax and stuff. Trying to distract from these crazy symptoms. My head symptoms today have been out of control. And I can only hope that it's just not my norm for a long time, because if it is, it's going to take a while to accept that that's back. And that 100% means that the nervous system is definitely related to brain issues and crazy brain issues, not just being pulled off of medication. Ever since I had my nerve stimulation test, things have gone downhill day after day after day. And then I'll have a little window where I feel like I'm at my baseline and I start getting confident. And then a few days after that, things will crash so hard. This is a really hard day, so I'm hoping tomorrow's a little better. I rested all day, but anxiety's a little better today, so that's a positive. But in general, my physical symptoms and some of my brain shit is so out of control. I feel like I've been set back like 4 years. And I can only hope that it gets better sooner than later. And I have some things coming up that I'm going to do, life stuff that I'm going to do. But I know it's going to take a lot out of me. I don't see how I'm going to do a lot. But we'll see. Um, does benzo withdrawal get better in time, or does it get worse? That's the question. I could say through my 7.5 years, mind you, I've been tapering Remeron, that things have gotten better year after year, but sometimes things get way worse. I feel my physical symptoms have gotten worse in time. Every time I have a setback, my physical symptoms get way worse than they were the last setback. Mental, it kind of gets better because getting lower and lower on Remeron, the mental symptoms get a little better. So I don't know what my baseline is of that, to be honest. Not a clue. Yeah. Oh, thank you. It's it's one of the hardest. I've had a lot of hard setbacks. One some years ago when I over tapered Remeron. That came in with a lot of really scary symptoms and the depression. The depression made me suicidal. I'm not suicidal this time. I mean, I get weird glimpses in my head, but I'm not actually suicidal. And I'm not getting the depression. Sometimes I get some situational depression as just my norm, and it's a little more lately, but that's because I'm so fucking tired and I'm so like bogged down from everything that's going on. So I'm just worn out. And my head symptoms are so like physical, like just the physical symptoms in my head have been like none other. Like, I mean, talking my first few years off of benzos, I get this pushing and crushing on the top of my head. Luckily, I don't have the band around my head like I did for like 2, 3 years. God, it was fucking sucked. But this is just a crushing, morphing pressure on top of my head, and it sucks. It sucks bad. I get a lot of tingling and, you know, like staticky feelings just in one spot. I can kind of usually rub on it and it'll disappear for a moment, then it'll come back. Stuff like that. I'm getting that a lot. Weird thing is I'm not getting the crawling in the back of my neck, and that was a symptom that took like 5 years to resolve. And I get it once in a while, but it didn't come back for this, at least not yet. But this is easily, I would say, out of the 7.5 years I've been through, this is easily the top two, tops two, yeah, setbacks that I've had. And I can say I was already kind of frazzled. My body and brain were already frazzled from how much stuff I was doing. I was kind of testing myself because it's been 7.5 years. I was kind of testing myself, doing a lot of stuff, and I put myself into a kind of a bad place. But the problem lied when I got my nerve stimulation test to test my whatever it's called, um, whatever, my numb fucking hand. So for some reason I didn't put it together. I was just taking care of my health, doing my shit. I'm usually pretty vigilant, but that test was way too much. There was two drawbacks to it. As I'm laying there, got my gown on, laying there, and I knew they were going to do something, to test the nerves, but all of a sudden he lifts my arm and fucking rubs alcohol all over my arm. I'm like, fuck. I don't even know if that made a difference, to be honest, but that's not something I want. I didn't even want to inhale that. But after he did it, I'm like, well, what's done is done, right? So then after that, he would like he even used the word current. He was putting electrical currents into my arm. And sometimes he'd say, this one's going to go into your neck and it's going to go down into your spine, which you won't feel it in your spine, but it does go into your spine. And the whole time I'm like, oh, fuck, I'm in trouble. Or not. Let's hope for the best. Maybe I'm strong enough to deal with it. Well, yeah, it was for carpal tunnel. Sorry, I couldn't think of the word. And I mean, I found out that I've got a pinched nerve in my elbow, and if it gets worse, eventually they'd want to do the test again. But I won't. I won't have that happen unless I can't use my arm, unless I can't use my hand. It kind of sucks because I play guitar and it's getting harder. But in general, if it gets really bad, they're gonna have to do a surgery. So I mean, it was definitely well worth it, you know, but not worth what I'm going through. Not I'm not. It's not worth the symptoms and the setback that I have right now because it is suffering like a motherfucker. Um, I'm trying to live my life the best way I can right now. I am working hard. Well, barely working today, but working hard when I can. Sometimes I get this weird motivation, which I haven't had in a long time. But it's been weird. Like I'll get a bout of motivation of getting stuff done, which is great because I need it. Because feeling like this mentally, like physically, it's terrible. But like I said, for 7.5 years, I'd rather have physical problems than the mental problems. Luckily, the anxiety is calming down a little bit. Hopefully, it stays that way. I'm sure it won't, but it might. It's been a few days of it being at a lower level, not a great level. It's still really harsh, but it's better. Not panic inducing. It's just really harsh anxiety. It's hard to breathe with it. But so yeah, setbacks. I mean, like I said, do you get better in benzo withdrawal syndrome, or do you get worse as time goes on? No, I mean that's really gonna change on what's going on. And for everybody who doesn't know, I'm still tapering Remeron. I mean, I was poly drugged after I was off benzos, so I got the 1-2 punch, getting off of benzos and then going on other medications and stuff. And now all I'm doing is still tapering Remeron. And honestly, I would have probably been off of it years ago. but my nervous system's so fried and so fucked up that I can barely taper it. Last time I tapered was about 3 months ago, and I'm supposed to taper again the end of January. I can't imagine that's going to happen. It might not be till the middle of next year. And if that's the way it has to be, that's the way it has to be. I might take another 3 years tapering a small amount of Remeron. But if that's the way it's got to be, because I have to survive, I can't imagine tapering on this fragile of a nervous system. I just can't. Which really bums me out because I've only tapered twice in the past year. And I really need to get moving on this. But I'm in no shape for it. And it's like I could deal with the withdrawal of tapering. That's not a problem. It's the backlash of symptoms I get, my nervous system issue, because my nervous system can't handle it. And it just lasts so long. But now that I'm in this big old setback, tapering is going to make it nearly impossible for me to function right. And I need to function because I have to work. And I've got things coming up, life things that I have to do. And, I still want to be a part of some things. And if I can't, that's going to be miserable. But at this point, I can barely walk. I took a walk for 5 minutes yesterday, 10 minutes maybe. And it blew me apart. That's how fragile I am right now. I did manage to take a shower today and kind of clean myself up a little bit. But yeah, that's yeah. Hey there, chat people. Oh, thanks. Any advice for anxiety? It's hard to say, it depends. All anxieties are so different. First off, like for me, yeah, it's definitely like a adrenaline that's constantly rolls through my veins and it doesn't go away. Luckily, it will wane and calm down a bit. But the one thing that I found to help a little bit, now see, my anxiety stems from my gut. And I'm not talking about gut problems, but like I feel the anxiety in my stomach and it shoots out energy through my body. That's where mine is. One thing I find that helps a little bit, few percentages, is drinking really hot water. Maybe it just soothes the system a little bit. I have no idea. But it does help a little bit. Distraction. I mean, I know that's stupid and it doesn't, but distraction, try to cut the loop of over scanning and thinking about anxiety because I scan for it all the time and I make it worse. Today was a little better because since it started feeling a little better, I didn't scan for it as much, which helps. So that's about all my advice because anxiety for me is excruciating when you're in this kind of state. And I don't know if it's the anxiety that's making the symptoms as bad as they are because I can't shake it. I have no idea. But I know walking will help the anxiety, but I can't barely walk, so I don't, But I'm pretty terrified of all of it. I really don't know what to do with it. I'm in a place that I never thought I'd be back in. And it's not like I haven't tried so hard to get where I was. And, I've worked so hard to stay on this path, and I've been very vocal about it. And, I just thought I would never be back here. That's what I thought. And I don't know how to accept that it's here again and I don't know where it's going. I don't know where it's going. If I could accept it and just be like, whatever, I've been through this before. It's hard. The symptoms are brutal. Just do the best you can. Go out when you can, but make sure you got to work. So make the make the people in your life and your work priority, and that's it. Can't do anything else. But it's really disappointing because it's like just thinking that. It's like it sounds so easy, but it's not. It's I'm just plainly scared. I'm scared to do this all again. I mean, I don't hopefully it doesn't last as long as it did before, because if it does, it's going to be some years that I'm going to have to deal until things calm down. But I would hope it wouldn't be like that again, especially being on way less Remeron than I was before. And I had no idea what the fuck was going on before. And I have some few coping techniques behind me now, which isn't much, but something. Hey, Ty. Hey, Dan. Good to hear from you. My anxiety cure was one, cutting off sensory items. I'd make a comfortable place in my closet. Two, I'd share my thoughts with others that were in anxiety. Yeah, that's actually a really good idea. Like today, I cut out being on my phone and stuff like that. Like you'll notice I don't stare at my phone talking because I don't want to stare at the screen all day like I usually have. Um, so, I mean, I do watch a lot of TV and stuff like that, but it's like if I don't, I really don't know what else to do. It's either that work, which my work is on a computer screen anyway. So it's like my world is screens, but for some reason the phone screen, that one fucks with my DPDR and fog big time. So, yeah, I'm as like you, I share my thoughts and my day when I can. But yeah. But now I just do a lot of meditation and stuff and hope it helps. But it doesn't always help. So like today again, I couldn't relax for the life of me. I was just staying there buzzing and no relaxation whatsoever. I mean, it doesn't hurt, but sometimes it's like exhausting trying to meditate. Ugh. And you notice I'm on here every day now, which is not good. Not good for me. The less I'm on here, you'll know I'm doing better. The more I'm on here, the more you'll know I'm not doing well. So it's a love-hate relationship with my YouTube channel. I know it helps people to listen, and I appreciate all that people can relate and whatever. But there was a good portion of this where I didn't have to come on anymore because I wasn't as scared. But see, that's my problem, is I need to not be scared. Yeah. It's weird after almost 7.5 years that I'm still frightened of this. It's like, but how can you not be? Seriously, it's no medical people have any clue about it. It's debilitating as fuck, and there's absolutely not a fuck thing you can do about it. Not a fuck thing you can do about it, other than do your best and get through. I haven't seen people in my position fall into these kind of setbacks before. It's always me, and it's so disappointing because I feel like I feel very alone in the fact that here I am 7.5 years off. Whether you're 4 years, 7.5, either way, it's a long fucking time. We shouldn't be going through these kind of setbacks for doing regular stuff. Like, so if I have to re-get a test for my for my nerves, what am I supposed to tell the guy? I'm just like, oh, I can't do that test again because I have a nervous system disorder. Well, what is it? Oh, it's fucking benzo withdrawal syndrome. Duh. No, I mean, nobody, I can't explain any of this to anybody. It's so lonely. It's so fucking lonely. So, yeah. I mean, I hate to be a downer, because I want to be on here and share, come on here once in a while and share positivity and all that. But it's just not happening right now. Just not happening. Not until things calm down more. And God knows when that's going to fucking happen. I never thought I could do what I'm doing right now, living on my own, looking around at all my stuff, going, how the fuck did I get here? And I do. I do it every day. I look around and go, what the fuck? As before, things made more sense and they weren't so overwhelming. Things got better. But holy shit, where the fuck am I? What the fuck did I do? How did I get to this place? It's weird. It's a weird situation to be in. DPDR and the fog, and I have visual snow syndrome, so that makes my vision even worse. And it's like I live in a weird hallucination. And it's like a huge test. And then I ask, what did I do to deserve this? And why have I not paid for it yet? I've paid yearly after year, suffering and suffering and suffering. So why will I never catch a break? Am I going to suffer till I die? Because how much can my body take? It's like I'm going to end up in the hospital and they're going to, it's not like I'm telling the psychs that I'm fucking tapering Remeron the way I am, because they would have ripped me off fucking ages ago. Like they wanted to. Two doctors wanted to rip me off of it because they said it was too small of a dose. And God, so I'd have to taper it on my own. So that's fine. I mean, they could just take me off of it, but I would be unfunctional probably for a couple of years. And it would be pure suffering for a couple of years. I might die. My body might not even handle it. And I'd probably be so suicidal, I don't think I'd make it. And that's what they would do. So I can't afford to let that happen. If I end up in a hospital or something, I don't know what's going to happen. Seriously. I got to stop worrying about shit like that. But I do worry that my body's just going to give out. My heart's just going to give up. Because I can barely exercise. I've tried to exercise. And there's points in this recovery process where I started to be able to do some stuff. Like I was doing a sit down bike. I would do it for like 10 minutes a day or every other day, which wasn't much, but for me, that was huge. I'd start walking more. I'd walk around my block. And I'd be able to do that a few times a week. That was a big deal for me to even get to that point. My body was so fragile. And then I got COVID last year. And that fucking destroyed that for a long time. I've tapered a couple times, but now my body's it's probably the most fragile I've ever seen it. Depends. Some of the symptoms are a little better. Some of the symptoms are way worse. So it all depends. But it's so fragile. So I can't mess around now. I'm still going to have the holidays and stuff coming up that I'm going to do. But, after the things that I've already, planned, I'm going to do those things. But after that, that's it. Yeah, people, it's true. Actually, the people that I do talk to that have the hardest times are usually about mid 40s. And usually honestly, it's people, I don't know everybody's stories out there, but It's usually people that are tapering or got put on something else and had to taper after benzo withdrawal. Because honestly, I probably would have been done with this 5 years ago if I was never put on a drug that was, quote, so easy to get off of that you don't even have to think about it. I just wish I could go back and just look at the person and say, you are a fucking asshole. I've suffered for over a decade. Well, I'm hoping by the time I'm 50, I'm hoping by the time I get to 50, I'll be off Remeron. I mean, I'm 47 now. I just turned 47. So, I was giving myself 2 years for Remeron, but with all these setbacks and getting sick and COVIDs and colds and this and that and things holding you back, I mean, I could only assume that it'll take even longer. So, I'm hoping by the time I'm 50 that I can be off Remeron, and then maybe I could start to heal more, you know? Because if I live till I'm 70 or 80, that would give me 20 or 30 years of living. And that'd be fucking rad. I mean, I won't take my life for granted then. I want to take some vacations with my girlfriend and do stuff and just be part of life. And then when I die, I could say, yeah, I suffered for 10 years, but at least I had a bunch of years that were worth it. That's the part that keeps me going, is thinking, yeah, I might have suffered for a decade, but I've also lived for 70 years otherwise, you know. But I'm going to have to really, like, after this whole thing and I can start to exercise again, I need to really take care of myself and strengthen my heart and clear out my fucking buttered arteries. That sounded funny. I eat a lot of butter. It's probably the only thing that keeps any kind of weight on me at all. But I know it's probably not healthy. But it's the only thing, like, I eat plain chicken all the time. It's so fucking boring to eat. I've been eating the same shit for over 7 years. So, I've found like eating rice. I eat a lot of white rice with butter. I like that a lot. I've been eating a lot of beef, and that was starting to help me feel a lot better. But for some reason, I don't know if I'm thinking that it's making things worse now, so I cut it back a little bit because I was eating some beef almost every day, a little bit. And for a while, I thought it was making me feel better, but I don't know if I'm overdoing it, so I cut it down a little bit because I'm like, maybe that's making my anxiety worse. I start getting paranoid. Yeah, it's just the way it goes. I get paranoid about everything I do. Maybe this is fucking me up. Maybe that's fucking me up. My body hurts though. God, it hurts. And the crawling in my head and the morphing feeling in my head. That's so old school symptom. It's such an old school symptom. I shouldn't have it 5 years later because it took me a few years for it to go away. I would say 3 years it took to go away. Not back. It's back. It was okay a few days back, and then all of a sudden my head started feeling like there was like morphing static in my head, which was a little better than the pressure, but the pressure kind of came back yesterday, and now I'm getting all the morphing moving in my head and skull. I just don't get it. I mean, at first I thought all that was coming from the fact that they pulled me off of benzos and gave me damage in my brain. I really do believe like the shock of the nervous system that I had from the carpal tunnel test, it gave me everything. It's the shock of a nervous system. That's it. It's just, it doesn't know how to, like it needs to be reset, but it doesn't know what it's doing. So it's confused and causing all these weird symptoms. And I mean, I thought it feels like brain damage. Honestly, it probably isn't. It probably is just complete nervous system frenzy. Because you have nerves everywhere, you know? So, but it's weird. If somebody told me, oh, your nervous system's fine, it couldn't be your nervous system. I would have never known for 100% until I did a nerve stimulation test for my carpal tunnel. And now I'm in hell again. Then, now it's just proof. It's just total proof that it's definitely part of this. Because I'm getting a lot of the same symptoms I did before. And it's weird because now I'm getting partial windows once in a while, which I never did before, probably because I was on too many other drugs and high on Remeron. But now it's like my windows will like sort of bring me closer to my baseline, that I was in 3 months ago, which feels a fuck a lot better than now. So I'll call it a partial window. I never had those before. So I know my nervous system is trying. And it's like, what? So when I'm on a window, I can't really do too much because if I overdo it, that means everything's going to go crazy. But I thought for sure, like the last partial window I went in, I thought for sure I was like home free. God, and every time I say that, every single time, I'm like, oh, finally it's getting better. And then it will just crash again. It's really scary. I'm going to get off here in just a moment. So if you have any questions, just feel free to ask. I don't answer every question that's in comments. I don't answer what milligram I'm on anymore. I've got reasons, and I've answered that before. Why? Remeron, I'm on Remeron. I've been tapering it for years, and I realistically probably only have to taper. Let me think. I probably only have to taper 5 or 6 more times. Hey, Michael. Oh, I'm not feeling better. Well, I guess in some little things I am. Anxiety definitely ruins sleep. Right now, I can't sleep in the day. Like, I'll usually take a nap in the day and I try to fall asleep for 10 minutes. I don't care. But I can't do that anymore because my symptoms are way too high. At night, I think I'm so fucking exhausted that I fall asleep. And it's the one thing that's not happening right now is insomnia. I admit, and I'm very happy about that. So that's the one thing I'm not relating to, but my anxiety is so high, but it's a little better than it was a few days ago. So I'm just kind of hoping it's calming down a little bit, but everything else has went crazy. A lot of my symptoms are crazy. Akathisia is crazy, but it's like mine is like I just have an inner restlessness that's just nuts. Restlessness. That's a hard word to say for me right now. It's just like I can rub my arm and I can feel that moving in my arm still. And I feel like there's an inner static pain burn that moves around inside my arm. I can still feel that when I touch there. And so, like, I'm sitting here, it's cold outside, but I'm sitting here with a sleeveless shirt as I normally do because I don't like the feeling of sleeves. I don't want to just look cool because I have no muscle. There's nothing to show off. And I'm sitting here in shorts with my heat on higher so I don't have to feel my pants on my legs. But that feeling in my body is intense. And I've had it ever since I got ripped off of benzos, but it calms down more in time until I have a setback. And then it will be out of control. But this setback is different because it's not calming down. I guess that's the difference when I get an actual electrocution onto my nerves, that now I have to just deal with it until it calms down. And I don't know when it will, because I could have really destroyed my fragile nerves doing that. So sad. But we'll see. And it's like, I realistically, in this world, it doesn't sound like I have to taper much, probably 5 times. Let's see. I would say 5 or 6 times. That's it. That's all I have to taper Remeron. But that can take me years, especially if I do it every 3 or 4 months. And you have to realize it probably would be more like 4 months. And I would have to hope that I'm stable to taper. I'm not getting sick. I didn't get COVID again. I didn't get set back or whatever. So that under 2-year mark would end up probably being more like 3. And that fucking sucks. But I've gotten really far. I've gotten really far in this. And God knows I don't want it to take me out before I just want to get off Remeron. If I die after that, at least I could be proud of that. You know, I made it. I fucking made it. But goddamn. We'll see. See how it goes. What day is today? Saturday. Little things pop in my head of like things that are positive, and I'll be like, oh, thank goodness, at least that. But there's so much hell. Like, I think of the positive things going, well, how am I going to enjoy them like this? That's one of my hard parts, is enjoying life like this. Because even if I feel I could do something, it doesn't matter what I feel like I can do. It doesn't fucking matter, because the outcome of me doing it is what the problem is. And it doesn't just hit me the day after. It'll just get worse and worse and worse and worse. And like it is right now, like with that stimulation test, it's just getting worse and worse and worse. And I'll get a partial window, and get worse and worse and worse. Kind of like going up a hill, down. And I'm just waiting for it to level out. It's not leveling out yet. It's been over 3 weeks, I think. Not sure. I'd have to look at the paper. It's been a bit. But yeah, I'm going to get off here in just a moment. I've been on for about 40 minutes. Not bad. I've been yapping away. Going to watch a movie or something. At least try to. So I hope everybody out there ends up having a good evening. Definitely try to do your best to get sleep. And I know it's hard. The anxiety in this is just brutal. That's the thing, is like, mine has leveled off for a lot of years. It would always be harsh, but it leveled off for years. And I can't believe, and I always say to myself, as long as the anxiety stays down, I can do a lot. I can deal with a lot. But the anxiety came back full force this time. It's just the adrenaline in my body, and like whatever the nervous system. It's obviously the nervous system controls almost everything. That's the thing. And everything needs to calm down. And no matter how much relaxation I do, no matter taking baths, relaxing, breathing, trying to stimulate certain parts of your nervous system so it's, calms down, doesn't seem to matter much. That's the part that bugs me. I mean, I know it's not hurting anything, but damn, how much work you got to do? Oh, anyway, you all take care. I'm going to try to get this video uploaded. It's probably going to say private for a while. I don't know why, but that's YouTube's fucking weird way of being annoying to me lately. So if it ends up saying private, just give it some time and I'll make it public as soon as I see that it's uploaded. Take care, everyone.